7 years after leaving school, the grand banquet hall of a downtown hotel buzzed with laughter and chatter. The much-anticipated class reunion had finally come, a place where old faces reunited, showing off their success, status, and all the glamour accumulated over many years apart. The doors swung open. A hush fell for an instant before the murmurs began. Alicia Johnson, the different black girl from back then, stepped inside. Her dress was simple, her shoes worn, her hair hastily tied as if she had just escaped from a long, exhausting day. Eyes swept across the room. A group of girls covered their mouths giggling. At a corner table, some boys exchanged mocking glances. They whispered, "Oh my, it is still Alicia, hasn't changed one bit." Then the microphone crackled to life. Rebecca, the former hot girl turned MC of the event, held her head high and smiled with hidden intent. "Oh, look who just arrived." Alicia is still loyal to her clear and sail style. The audience erupted into laughter. A few mocking claps rang out like fuel to a fire. Alicia froze for a half second. Her eyes flickered with emotion, but instead of reacting, she inhaled softly, gave a small smile, and quietly made her way in. Those watching immediately wondered, why was Alicia here? In a crowd that had once despised her? Would she quietly endure humiliation as in the past? Or was something about to turn completely upside down? Alicia Johnson. That name had always felt out of place from the very first day she stepped into that prestigious private school. That school, where children of wealthy families gathered, where luxury cars parked at the gate each morning, where lunch in the cafeteria was full of boasting about exotic vacations and the newest designer item. Among that sea of people, Alicia was the only black girl. Her father was an auto mechanic. Her mother worked as a night shift nurse. Her family scrimped and saved every dollar to give their daughter a chance at better education. But the differences in skin color, in background, made Alicia a thorn in many people's eyes. Yet Alicia was not an ordinary girl. She was so intelligent that teachers admired her, passionate in both art and science. She could sketch a portrait in minutes and then immediately switch to solving a complex equation. Her grade report always ranked at the top, but to her classmates, that did not matter at all. They saw only weirdness in her. The daily taunts became an invisible burden. Where did you dig up that old ragged dress? Do you really think a poor black girl like you can succeed? This place is full of rich kids. You're just a misfit. Those laughs stuck to her, forcing Alicia to live inside a solitary shell. Through all 4 years of high school, not a single invitation to a party, not a sincere handshake. When she graduated, her yearbook photo was almost forgotten in the album full of bright, beautiful faces. But Alicia did not collapse. After graduation, she chose a quiet path. No flashy social media, no loud parties. She threw herself into her one passion, merging art with technology. In a small rented room, with an old laptop and hands calloused from side jobs, Alicia tirelessly built a digital art platform using artificial intelligence. There were times when she failed miserably, when grant applications were rejected by the dozens. But instead of giving up, Alicia patiently picked herself up. For 7 years she led a modest life, rejecting extravagance, pouring all her heart into that project. Now, that platform had grown into a global artists community, valued at tens of millions of dollars. The ironic thing is, none of her old classmates knew the truth. In their eyes, Alicia was still that weird poor girl of the past. The reunion party grew louder as the night progressed. The faces of old classmates took turns boasting about titles, salaries, glamorous European vacations. In that atmosphere of bragging, Alicia became the perfect target for mockery. Rebecca, with her cold smile, occasionally turned the microphone toward Alicia, half teasing, half serious. "Do we have any servers here?" "Oh, Alicia, I hear you pour coffee like a pro." "Right." The hall burst into laughter. Alicia only slightly lifted an eyebrow, then smiled politely, as though those words could not touch her. Ethan, former basketball team captain, once celebrated as the brightest star in school, now unemployed and in debt, did not miss the chance to bring her down. He spoke loudly, so everyone at his table could hear. "Rebecca, you're mistaken. I heard Alicia works at a small bookstore as a sales clerk. Her salary probably just covers that dress she is wearing." The mockery stabbed at Alicia like a blade. A few gorgeously made-up girls at a nearby table covered their mouths giggling. "I don't know why she even dared come. She looks like she is begging for something." But unlike in days gone by, when Alicia would have quietly bowed her head and endured, this time she did not flinch. She sat still, lifting her glass, her eyes quietly scanning the room, not with resentment, and not with meekness. It was a calmness so strange, as though she were watching a play whose ending was already written. Some people began to feel uneasy. "Why does she not get angry? Why does she not leave?" they whispered, because in that calm gaze, there was something like someone who knows she holds the strongest card, just waiting for the perfect moment to flip it. And that made more than a few mockers suddenly feel a flicker of worry. The music began to fade. Rebecca stepped onto the center stage, her voice brimming with confidence as it echoed through the microphone. "And now, for the most exciting part of the evening, let's take a trip down memory lane and see how everyone has turned out." A round of applause followed. The projector lit up, displaying one photo after another from their school days. Ethan in his basketball uniform. Now captioned, "Try to start up, currently looking for a new direction." A few awkward chuckles spread across the room. More faces flashed on the screen. Doctors, lawyers, business owners, happy families. The whole hall buzzed like a parade of polished accomplishments. Then came Alicia's turn. The screen went black for a few seconds, then displayed only a blank frame with a short message. "Information not available." Laughter burst out, louder than before. Rebecca fake frowned and gave a smug shrug. "Oh, maybe because still unemployed? Or still hunting for part-time gigs?" The crowd roared. Some tables even clapped along, as if they had all been waiting for Alicia to retreat with her head hung low, the typical ending for an outsider. But Alicia did not move. She gently set her water glass down, stood up, and began walking toward the stage. The laughter continued for a moment, then slowly died down, as more eyes began to notice the calm, unwavering pace of her steps. Rebecca hesitated slightly, trying to mask it with a tight smile. "Oh, Alicia wants to say a few words. Please, the stage is all yours." Alicia took the mic with quiet grace. The room fell into a sudden, heavy silence. "Thank you for making me invisible one more time. Honestly, I have grown used to that feeling. But maybe tonight is the time I show up for real." The energy in the room shifted. The faces that had once mocked her now watched with a strange curiosity. Alicia pulled out her phone from her jacket pocket and tapped a few buttons. Instantly, the projector behind her changed. There it was, the cover of Forbes, boldly displaying Alicia Johnson, founder of a $75 million digital art platform. A moment of stunned silence. Then the screen flooded with major news headlines. Alicia Johnson, young CEO reshaping the global creative industry, TechCrunch. Alicia's AI art platform attracts thousands of artists from 70 countries, The Guardian. Images of Alicia delivering a TED Talk appeared, with thousands applauding and videos reaching millions of views. In that moment, all laughter stopped, but thick silence settled over the room. Shocked expressions, mouths half open, unable to speak. Rebecca gripped the microphone tightly, her forced smile frozen. Ethan sat red-faced, his hand clenched around his glass until his knuckles turned white. The group of girls who had been whispering earlier suddenly stared down at the table, none daring to look up. A hushed voice rose from the back row. "No way, that's really her." Alicia no longer needed to explain. The images spoke for themselves, loud enough to bury every mocking word spoken just moments before. And in that moment, everyone realized, the girl they had once scorned, once cast aside, had become a symbol they could never hope to reach. Alicia stood tall, the light from the projector casting a glow on her face, making her once modest presence shine brighter than ever. In front of her, hundreds of stunned faces seemed frozen in time. She lifted the microphone, her voice rang out slow and steady, every word sharp and deliberate. Back then, you said I was poor. You called me an outcast, someone who would never succeed. You laughed at my dreams. And, yes, those words used to hurt so deeply. I wanted to disappear from the world. A wave of silence rippled through the hall. A few heads bowed, unable to meet her gaze. But then I realized. Alicia paused, her eyes scanning the entire room. Those very insults became fuel. They gave me the fire to prove that I do not just exist. I can create something bigger than all that scorn. She pointed to the screen, where the faces of international artists using her platform were smiling, their artwork proudly displayed. What you once mocked was the belief I held onto. And today, that belief has become the lifeline for thousands of artists around the world. People who were once overlooked, who had no voice, now have a stage to shine. The crowd began to shift uneasily in their seats. Rebecca bit her lip, her fake smile now completely gone. She looked down, hands trembling as they gripped her script. All the pride she once wore had crumbled into dust. Ethan, who had once dubbed himself the star, now slumped in his seat, shoulders heavy. He avoided Alicia's gaze, but the shame on his face was unmistakable. In the corner, a few people slowly nodded, their eyes filled with a mix of regret and admiration. They realized, for all those years they had looked down on Alicia. They had been slamming the door shut on someone who could change the world. Alicia smiled gently, not out of spite, not out of revenge, just the calm of someone who had risen above it all. She ended with a single, unwavering sentence: never underestimate anyone just because they're different, because that very difference might be what changes the world. No applause, not a single sound, just a heavy silence, hanging like a collective confession. Alicia placed the microphone down. The clink of metal hitting the table echoed through the room, a final punctuation mark to all the arrogance that once filled the air. She turned, stepped off the stage, eyes followed her, hesitant, remorseful, and full of newfound respect. But Alicia no longer needed their recognition. In that space, for the very first time, it was the mockers who fell silent, while the once invisible girl walked away with pride radiating from every step. The doors closed behind her. Outside, the cool night breeze rushed in, sweeping away the heaviness left in the hall. Alicia took a deep breath. Her shoulders relaxed. For the first time in years, she smiled in peace, not because she had beaten anyone, but because she had finally lived true to herself. The narrator's voice returned, blending into the image of Alicia walking alone down a lawn, quiet street. The girl once ridiculed by her entire class, who lived in isolation, has now become a global inspiration. Alicia did not just prove her worth, she turned her pain into power, lifting thousands along the way. A pause, then a warm, grounded voice asked, "What about you? If one day you are mocked, rejected, will you quietly walk away? Or will you rise and prove your worth?" Share this video, so Alicia's story can reach more hearts. Comment your thoughts, and do not forget to subscribe, to help spread the power of being different.